Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Hilaal Live from our Cape Town studios. It's time now for our political party spotlight, and we're nearing an election year. So I thought, what better way than to invite the various political parties into studio so you, the viewer, can make an informed decision on where to cast your vote. Today, it's the turn of the Jamaah party, and in studio, I have the president of the Jamaah political party, Brother Ganief Hendricks. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you very much for the invitation.
My absolute pleasure, Brother Ganief. It's been a whirlwind of a year for Jamaah, getting involved in various challenges in our country, but without a doubt, it's election year coming up next year. For those that would like to know more about the Jamaah party, can you briefly tell us about the structure of Jamaah? I know yourself as the president, but what are the other members involved in the party?
Look, we have a national working committee consisting of 4 members from all 3 tiers of government.
Okay.
And we run the affairs of the party on a daily basis.
Okay.
And then we have a national executive committee consisting of our leadership in 6 provinces.
Okay, all right.
The only provinces that we're still trying to make headway is in the Free State,
okay,
and the Eastern Cape,
okay,
and Northern Province.
Okay.
All other provinces, we have very strong leadership, and like you say, we are at the moment we have about 75 campaign teams during the month of September, working all over South Africa, so that we can garner as much votes as possible in Parliament. It's impossible for one member of Jamaah to do all the work that is required in Parliament.
Of course.
We only have one member in the Western Cape Parliament, and it's impossible for him as well to do all the work that is necessary. And then all the other parliaments, they are waiting for Jamaah to have a presence.
Inshallah.
As you know, that since January, it's now a year, we are running the city of Johannesburg with just 3 councillors. So 9 political parties have confidence in Jamaah to lead.
Okay.
So we count on the votes of all those parties. If just one of them pulls out, then the Democratic Alliance runs the city of Johannesburg, and it is the 2nd province in the country that's under white rule.
Correct.
As you know, the Western Cape is under white rule, and Jamaah is engaging at the moment with some prominent Muslims, Sheikh Ibrahim Gabriels, Mandla Mandela, and we are asking them to work with Jamaah so that we can take the Western Cape from the Democratic Alliance because of their position on the genocide and they stand with Israel.
Okay, you've made a very distinct statement with regards to say they white ruled, although the Democratic Alliance itself, and they're not here to defend themselves, have non-white members in the group as well. What is your thoughts on that?
Look, as you know that the Federal Council of the Democratic Alliance is controlled by Alan Ziller. It's controlled by the Zionists. And they are there to share power without losing control.
Okay.
So they don't mind to have as many black faces as possible. The blacker the better for them, so long as there's white rule.
Gotcha. So you've made also a statement that Sheikh Ibrahim Gabriels may get involved, Mandla Mandela. Do you regard your party as a Muslim party? Or do you regard it as a party for everybody, encompasses everybody in our country?
Look, when we started the party, the Muslims did not take part in the political life of the country.
Okay.
At the time we entered, only 3,000 Muslims voted for the African Muslim Party.
Okay.
So we just felt, that we need to come on board and to try and increase the footprint.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah, today about 100,000 are taking part in the political life of the country. So we've achieved our objective.
Alhamdulillah.
So we've now moved to what we call a Muslim political party for all communities. So you find the most senior positions in government are occupied by Al Jamaah members who are not Muslims.
Okay, I see.
We have the executive mayor of Johannesburg, he's
Right.
not a Muslim.
Okay.
And that's one of the most senior positions. We have a position as a chief whip in Harding, and that's also a non-Muslim. We have the head of our Women's League, Mrs. Willie Latule. She is a staunch Christian, and she's also the daughter-in-law of one of the leaders of the ANC, which is Chief Albert Latule. The ANC head office is named after him.
Okay.
So for the last 5 years, she has been the head of Al Jamaah's Women's League, and she's addressing mostly Muslim women groups all over the country.
Yep.
So Al Jamaah has now felt that we have proven our bona fides. It's a home for people outside the Islamic faith.
Okay.
We are now focusing more on moral values, on ethical behavior, and non-corruption.
Alhamdulillah.
So that is going to be our manifesto going forward. So we are a Muslim political party for all communities with strong moral, ethical values, and that is encaptured by justice for everyone.
Okay.
So we feel that position of justice, good morality, good morals, good ethical behavior is going to help us win the Western Cape next year, inshallah.
There's been quite a bit of talk about an alternative party to the DA in the Western Cape. And I think recent reports, recent incidences that have happened in the Western Cape have really altered people's minds and wondered who do they vote for. So what makes Al Jamaah different to some of the other parties that are out there? Why should our voters come to Al Jamaah and say, I would like to cast my vote for Al Jamaah?
I think it is our roots, and our roots goes to the foundational principles of the liberation movement.
Okay.
And when we have time, we can speak about that.
Inshallah.
And the fact that we are a Muslim party that has opened its doors to all communities. And like I said, most of the senior positions we occupy all over the country are occupied by non-Muslims.
Right.
And now that we are moving into South Africa has a problem with corruption, with bad morals, and there's no ethics in the governing party.
Gotcha.
So
well, in some of the other political parties as well, there's been a report of money that's been lost in the Western Cape as well.
Millions, yeah. So what has happened is that we have proven in the city of Joburg that we are a political party that other political parties can trust and can co-govern.
Okay,
so
that's a big statement.
Al Jamaah is not interested in coalitions.
Right.
Because coalitions, you are tied to what agreements you reach with other political parties.
Right, it's a compromise.
So we co-govern, and the fact that we are governing the richest city in Africa, and the iconic city in Africa is no longer an iconic city, but we have turned the city of Johannesburg around.
Alhamdulillah.
When I met with the premier of Gauteng, and he said, the 9 political parties are inviting you to lead us. Then we agreed on 20 accelerated programs in the city of Joburg. And I told him, here, show me the budget. This is the line items. What are the deliverables? And alhamdulillah, last week, we reported on the 20 accelerated programs in the city of Joburg. It was thumbs up for everyone.
Alhamdulillah.
They spent all the money in the budget, gave no money back to Treasury, and the objectives were achieved. But 20 is little. There's about 200 projects that we have to deal with, and inshallah by the end of our term in 2026, we would have achieved that. So the Democratic Alliance tried to remove our executive mayor last week, and we won the vote by 170 to 60.
Okay.
And even 5 of their own members decided to vote for Al Jamaah because on our performance in Joburg, They just felt, that we should continue our work and we can do even better in the Western Cape.
So you've got a model that you've worked on.
That's right, and
that
it's
you
worked
could
for a
now
year.
and you can replicate that.
That we can do in the Western Cape.
Yeah.
And
we have a few bit of challenges, different challenges, but I would imagine the model remains the same in terms of how the implementation can...
And that is co-governance, because even Marius Fransman invited me to their launch, and he's in Russia now, and every day he's communicating with me that he can't wait to come back so that we can strategize on how to take the Western Cape away from the DA and to make sure that it doesn't become a Zionist police state after the May elections.
Interesting. We're going to open the WhatsApp lines after the break. You have the opportunity to send us a WhatsApp with regards to your comments, opinions to this interview with President of Al Jamaah, Brother Ganief Hendricks. 079 085 2511. That is the WhatsApp number, 079 085 2511. Send us a WhatsApp. Only WhatsApps, no WhatsApp calls, unfortunately, and we'll direct your questions, comments to the President of Al Jamaah in studio. You are still watching Hilaal Live. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Hilaal Live. It's the political party spotlight. On a Thursday, we invite various political parties into studio so that our viewer, you the viewer, could make up a decision, make your decision on where to cast your vote for the next election in 2024. This week, it's the turn of Al Jamaah in studio, President of Al Jamaah, Uncle Ganief Hendricks. Jazakallah so much for coming into studio. Really appreciate it. I know you're a very busy man, traveling all over the country. Al Jamaah has really made strides around the country. And one of the topics that's been on most people's minds is the fact that unemployment hasn't been decreased. Even after COVID, even before COVID, we had a huge unemployment problem. After COVID, that exacerbated with many businesses feeling the pinch. And then you've got load shedding. That has contributed towards that as well. We've opened up the WhatsApp line, viewer. So if you'd like to send us a WhatsApp, 079 085 2511, and I will direct your WhatsApp to Ganief Hendricks. How has Al Jamaah contributed or contributing to alleviating the unemployment rate?
Look, I've told you about the 20 accelerated programs because we run the city of Joburg. But I don't want to go into the detail, but except to talk about other projects that we have to deal with directly with unemployment. So we have a large constituency in the former Transkei in a place called Mapami Village, which has an ocean with 20 kinds of fish. And I'm sure you will jump in the air that there's also crayfish and prawns.
Nice. They are renowned for that.
And so the villages, our members, were fishing from the rocks. So Al Jamaah assisted them with a fishing vessel, and they can now go into the sea 15 kilometers and catch the biggest couple Joe that you can think of.
Wow.
So we've also built them a refrigerator, because when they're catching fish, they need a place to store it.
Yeah.
But while we've built it, we are still looking for a cooling facility, and we hope to get a donor from government or elsewhere very soon.
Inshallah.
Then Groudville is where Chief Albert Luthuli is buried. He got the first Nobel Peace Prize, for a South African. And we then rented the Albert Luthuli Hall, turned it into a factory, and now we're making Groudville peanut butter, because peanuts grow along the river there.
I see.
Wherever you go, you see peanut plants. It's not peanut trees, it's peanut plants. I always thought peanut grows on a tree.
On a tree, right.
And the monkeys climb the tree, but peanuts grow on a plant. So they have now got a marketing team. And yesterday in Parliament, I shared with my fellow honorary members the fact that they make the best peanut butter, and their marketing is superb. If you just look at the pictures of the peanut butter on the sandwich, you want to eat up the picture. So Parliament is very excited about our Groudville peanut butter. Then thirdly, we also have a agricultural learning institute very near Pietermaritzburg, and it has been built. It's a very modern learning facility built by Al Jamaah for Al Jamaah. It doubles up as a national parliamentary constituency office, and we have our own dam. And across the dam, we have now planted 50,000 vegetable plants, cabbages, lettuce, all the things you need for the end of the year. And inshallah, next week I'm going down to start harvesting. So
Okay, so I'll place my order for that one to come.
and I'll
That's an expensive order.
I'll bring the carriage to Hilaal TV. And so then so we have these projects all over the country. In Umzinto, which is about an hour from Durban. We have an office with thousands of rolls of material, and we give it free to anyone who can prove to us that they know how to sew, that they can make dresses, school uniforms, and that they have a market to sell it. Then we give them material free.
Alhamdulillah.
And we help them with cutting, designing. So that's happening there. So Al Jamaah also is looking at sanitary pads for the Western Cape. We're also looking at material projects, but that has been a bit slow because we're dependent on the city of Cape Town. Because the cooperation between government is got to work via the municipalities, and they're not very cooperative. But elsewhere, where we don't have the DA, we don't have any red tape problems.
The Palestine issue and the conflict between Palestine and Israel is going on for many years, 75 years.
Yes.
Obviously come to light more now since the 7th of November, my apologies. What is Al Jamaah's stance on that conflict?
Our stance is that it's a genocide and that we need to stand with Hamas. And that's why I took Hamas to Parliament. We made Salatul Ghaib in the grounds of Parliament for the people who lost their lives in Palestine. And our position has been to support the EFF, calling for the ambassador to be removed. We had an amendment to that motion that we also want the embassy of Israel to be demolished. Because Israel...
In South Africa,
in South Africa. Because we wanted to wipe any trace of Israel off the face of South Africa. We feel that Israel is not a state, it's a people. And, it was wrong in the first place to give them a piece of land because, if you're in an embassy and you get in a country, that belongs to you. That is part of your country. And no one can come interfere there. So we just feel that must be expropriated without compensation.
How has Israel felt about that part?
Look, they're not very happy. They, in the meantime, have recalled their ambassador and make it a bit easy for South Africa to weigh its options because South Africa wants to play a mediating role.
The South African government.
South African government wants to play a mediating role. We've managed to persuade the president of South Africa to put out a statement that they won't sell weapons to Israel. So that's a good step.
And what about all the other trade agreements that we have with Israel? What happens to business who's now also going to be affected by those trade agreements?
Look, that is all work in progress. And, we hope to sort of prevent any trade with Israel because sanctions has helped South Africa get its freedom and its liberation.
Many years ago, of course.
We saw how it helped us, and we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to use the same strategies to bring down apartheid in Israel, like we did to bring down apartheid in South Africa.
Shukran for that. A couple of minutes left. Very quickly, we're very instrumental in the Muslim marriages or the marriages bill of South Africa. Has there been any developments with regards to that?
Look, as you know, we submitted 4 bills to Parliament with regard to the nikah. And alhamdulillah, we've now achieved our objective that when you produce your nikah certificate, then and your ID and both and the couple is present, then it is registered on a national population register.
As a marriage.
Yeah, and once it's registered on the National Population Register, it prints out a marriage certificate which says type of marriage, Muslim marriage.
I see.
So the consequences of that will be in terms of Islamic Sharia law. So we already have people who got married 10, 15 years ago,
Okay.
who brings in their nikah certificates,
Right.
gets a valid South African marriage certificate, and there's no ceremony. But sometimes we have an office. Advocate Shamima is in the Weinberg office. Advocate lawyer by Dalby is in the and Professor Harun is in the Mitchells Plain office.
Okay.
So we are there to assist.
Okay.
And
A couple of minutes
oversight.
left. I do apologize
Yeah,
for the
that's
time
fine.
running out. 30 seconds or less. Your message to the greater public of South Africa.
Our message is that let's start with the Western Cape. Make sure that that we defeat the DA. That the Western Cape is run by a number of parties like we do in Joburg. We co-govern. It's not a coalition. And that we make sure that the Western Cape doesn't become a Zionist police state and doesn't secede from the rest of South Africa and becomes the 55th country of Africa, or they try to become. And then they want to be the first country to have a white president in Africa.
Right.
It will be the first president in Africa that is white. So we need the support of the voters in the Western Cape especially to make sure that we remove the DA because of their position on the genocide in Palestine. Yesterday we said our farewell messages in Parliament. I don't know when Hilaal TV is going to have their farewell party, but I then wished everyone well for the new year. But I said those parties that stand with Israel, I don't wish you a Merry Christmas.
Okay, bold statements. Ganief Hendricks, Jazakallah so much for coming into studio, sharing your wisdom around your political party. All the very best for the 2024 elections, and all the very best for your holiday as well.
Thank you very much. We're not a holiday, we're campaigning. Every vote counts.
Of course. Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
And there we go. That's from the president of Al Jamaah political party based in South Africa. You have all the necessary information. The vote is now in your hands. That's how we wrap from the Cape Town studio. We now cross over to Johannesburg, where Faraz Patel and the team will take over till about 7:30. From myself, Luqman Shadrack, and Sohail Barnes in Cape Town, have a great evening. Assalamu alaikum.